Imagine this. You sit down with a clear intention to do something meaningful. Start the project, make the call, speak up, change the routine, and then nothing. You scroll, you reorganize, you wait for the right moment. It feels like laziness or fear, but what's really happening is much deeper. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do, keep you safe. And that instinct, while brilliant for survival, can quietly paralyze your life. Your brain is not designed to make you fulfilled, it's designed to keep you alive. For most of human history, safe meant familiar. Familiar meant predictable. Predictable meant survival. So your nervous system learned a simple rule. If something is known, it's probably not deadly. If it's unknown, proceed with extreme caution. That rule still runs today, even though the threats have changed. Your brain reacts to social risk, career risk, and emotional risk using the same ancient circuitry it once used to detect predators. At the center of this system is a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of it as your internal smoke detector. It doesn't care about logic or long-term goals. It cares about threat. When you consider stepping outside your comfort zone, the amygdala doesn't evaluate whether this move could improve your life. It asks one question only: is this familiar or unfamiliar? If it's unfamiliar, it pulls the alarm. That alarm doesn't feel like a siren. It feels like hesitation, tightness in your chest, a sudden urge to distract yourself. Overthinking, procrastination, perfectionism. These are not character flaws. They are safety behaviors. Your brain is trying to bring you back to known territory as fast as possible. Here's the twist. The brain doesn't just prefer comfort, it rewards it. Every time you choose the familiar over the uncertain, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. Not the exciting, motivating dopamine of progress, but the soothing dopamine of relief. Good, your nervous system says. We avoided danger. This creates a feedback loop. Comfort becomes chemically reinforced. Over time, your comfort zone stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like who you are. This is where comfort zone paralysis begins. Not when you're resting, but when your identity becomes fused with safety. When your brain learns that staying where you are is not just easier, but morally correct, emotionally justified, and neurologically rewarded. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning, reasoning, and long-term thinking, often knows better. It understands that growth requires discomfort, that avoiding risk also means avoiding reward. But under stress or uncertainty, the prefrontal cortex loses the power struggle. The amygdala is faster, louder, and more convincing. Logic speaks in sentences, fear speaks in sensations, and sensations usually win. This is why motivation alone doesn't work. You can't out-hype your nervous system. When people say, just push yourself, they underestimate how real this internal resistance is. To your brain, stepping into the unknown doesn't feel like growth. It feels like threat without an escape plan. Your brain also hates ambiguity. Unclear outcomes are especially uncomfortable because they prevent prediction. Prediction is safety. When you don't know how something will turn out, your brain fills the gap with worst-case scenarios. Not because it's pessimistic, but because it's protective. If it can prepare you for the worst, it believes it's doing its job. This is why you can stay stuck even when your current situation is objectively painful. The known pain feels safer than the unknown possibility. Your brain prefers a bad certainty over a good uncertainty. That's why people stay in unfulfilling jobs, relationships, routines, and identities long after they've outgrown them. The discomfort of staying is familiar. The discomfort of leaving is not. And the longer you stay, the smaller your comfort zone becomes. This is one of the most dangerous parts. Avoidance doesn't preserve comfort, it shrinks it. Each time you avoid a challenge, your brain updates its map of what's safe and removes territory from it. What once felt manageable starts to feel overwhelming. Your world narrows, not because you're incapable, but because your brain is overprotecting you. So how do you break out of this without triggering full-blown panic or burnout? The answer is not massive action. It's precision exposure. Your nervous system learns through experience, not explanation. You don't convince it that something is safe. You show it, slowly, repeatedly, in doses small enough that the alarm doesn't overwhelm the system. When you take a small step into discomfort and nothing terrible happens, your brain updates its model of reality. Maybe this isn't as dangerous as we thought. That update weakens the amygdala's grip and strengthens the prefrontal cortex's influence. Confidence isn't something you summon, it's something your brain builds after evidence. This is why tiny actions are powerful. Sending the message instead of rewriting it 10 times, working for 5 minutes instead of waiting for motivation, speaking once in the meeting instead of staying silent. These actions look insignificant, but neurologically they're revolutionary. They teach your brain that discomfort does not equal death. Another key is learning to reinterpret the sensation of fear. Excitement and fear feel almost identical in the body. Increased heart rate, heightened alertness, energy. The difference is the story you tell yourself about those sensations. If you label them as danger, your brain tightens. If you label them as activation, your brain becomes curious. The sensation doesn't change. The meaning does. You also have to stop asking your brain for permission. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action. It's often the result of action. Your brain needs proof before it offers comfort, not the other way around. And finally, understand this. Comfort is not the enemy. Chronic comfort is. Rest is necessary. Safety is important. But when safety becomes your primary value, your life starts to orbit avoidance instead of purpose. Growth will always feel unsafe to a brain that prioritizes survival over meaning. That doesn't mean something is wrong, it means you're human. The goal is not to eliminate fear, but to stop letting fear be the decision maker. Each time you choose expansion over protection, even slightly, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching it a new definition of safety, one that includes movement, curiosity, and change. Your comfort zone is not who you are. It's just where your nervous system learned to hide, and it can learn to move again. If this helped you, consider subscribing.